Well, the altcoin market is off to a fantastic start today, with most alts in the green and many up anywhere from 10 to 20%. And in today's video, I want to talk about exactly what we're seeing in the altcoin market right now and why it's so important, especially if you've invested in the altcoins yourself. And so, without further ado, guys, let's dive into it. And do not forget that if you want to start trading some alts today on up to 500x leverage, if you sign up to my link down below to BTCC, you're going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses and rewards and up to 40% lower trading fees. This is one of the best deals on YouTube for an exchange, and this is where I do the majority of my own trading. So I have a tutorial down below if you do want to check out the exchange, and I go into more, kind of detail about the offer right here. So check out that link. Let me know what you think, and let's go ahead and look at crypto bubbles. So as I mentioned before, the top 100 is absolutely smashing it. Most of them in the green, with many of them like ENS, Bonk, ETC, CRV, LDO, SPX, all smashing gains anywhere from 10 to 20%. Interestingly enough, Pump.Fund's actually looking pretty good. Up 7 places, up to 44 on the day, up 13%. Looking pretty good, honestly, guys. I mean, look, these launches don't usually do good, especially in 2025. And the fact that this one's maintaining that $2.24 billion market cap, sustaining some of these high levels, it doesn't mean that it's going to last forever, but it is looking pretty dang good right now, and I think it's worth watching. Arrow's another one, Aerodrome, one that you guys talk about a ton, currently pushing in towards the top 100, up about, 13% on the day, 30% on the week. Looking good. I mean, again, the altcoin market's impressing me right now, guys, and this is a fantastic sign. You all know that one of the biggest things I told you that we would be watching out for is whether or not the liquidity in the crypto market would translate to altcoins. I've told you all consistently. The reason why alts weren't performing well for the majority of the year, even while Bitcoin was up at all-time highs, was because the type of liquidity that was hitting Bitcoin wasn't the same that would flow into altcoins. But this is showing us that a tide is shifting, that things are changing, and the altcoin markets are starting to receive some of that liquidity from Bitcoin and from the global economy that I think is allowing their prices to go up. I mean, if you do look at just M2 money supply, the thing's just on the up and up. It's just consistently climbing. And whenever you see the global liquidity climbing, as well as Bitcoin's price climbing, it's going to put you in a situation to where as long as, nothing crazy happens, we're going to be in a probably good spot. Now, when you mix this in with some of the macro political events, such as, of course, many people thinking that inflation is somewhat getting tame, which should allow interest rates to come down pretty soon, it's going to trigger many institutions and retail investors to go risk on. And they're going to start really turning up. They're going to start, they're going to start investing a ton of money into more risk on assets. And of course, if that's ETH or SOL or XRP or whatever it may be, XLM for a great example, those are also going to find that liquidity is also going to find its way into the altcoin market. And so we have a perfect combination, a perfect mixture to allow for alts to start gaining some momentum. It's not been time for alts over the last 6-7 months, but it might be time for them over the next 6 or 7 months. And these are some early signs that very well could be on the way. And so what we're seeing in the altcoin market today, is absolutely fantastic. And I really want to zoom into what we're seeing from Bitcoin dominance as kind of like the key point of today's video, because what is happening here is absolutely massive. It's absolutely massive. Okay. So if you don't know what Bitcoin dominance is it's a representation of a battle between Bitcoin and the altcoin market. When Bitcoin is performing better than the altcoin market, Bitcoin dominance goes up. When altcoins are performing better than the Bitcoin itself, well, then Bitcoin dominance goes down. And it makes sense, right? Bitcoin's dominant. So if Bitcoin's losing dominance, it goes down. If Bitcoin's dominating, it goes up. Now, the way in which this is calculated, for those of you who are curious, is that this is simply just the ratio of the total market cap of crypto that's controlled by Bitcoin. So let's say, for example, the total market cap of crypto is $100 and Bitcoin's market cap is $78. Well, Bitcoin dominance is 78%. It's a pretty simple ratio there. And although it is a very simple measurement, it's actually extremely important that you watch it, because this is the easiest way to truly identify and understand what is happening in the battle of Bitcoin and the altcoin market. And what you're going to come to realize is Bitcoin dominance is giving us some massive signs of slowing down. It's quite obviously pointing in the direction that Bitcoin itself is losing momentum against altcoins. And this looks like much more than just a typical correction to me. Now that we are seeing this thing struggling to maintain over the last week or two, it's starting to tell me that altcoins could be positioning themselves to outperform Bitcoin. Now, does that mean we're going to go into a full altcoin season? Guys, I don't know. But what it does mean is that if you're an altcoin investor and you've been getting burned all year for 6 months straight, our opportunity to finally start generating some gains and continue to see days like this could be coming soon. This could be right ahead of us. Let me explain why. So when we just look at Bitcoin dominance as a whole, what you can see, I mean, is Bitcoin has been absolutely smashing the altcoin market over the last, 6 or 7 months. This one right here was December 6th of 2024, which is, of course, when like that little XRP altcoin season did come to an end. And after that happened, we saw Bitcoin dominance in the craziest uptrend I've seen in a while. I mean, it absolutely just shot straight upwards, following through. Look at that. Look at the trajectory of this, guys. Absolute madness. I've not seen an ascending structure like that in a very long time. But as many of you know, in the month of May, things started to change. Altcoins started to show a little bit of life. And as a result of that, we saw Bitcoin's dominance lose this support for the very first time in the entire year. Now, when this happened, I told you all, I said, listen, this is a massive sign for altcoins. You need to be watching this closely. And as a result, what we started doing here on the channel was transferring some of our profits from Bitcoin and pushing it over into our altcoin positions that were down. Because I said, listen, now is the time to try to get ahead of the curve. Now is the time to start to try to rotate some of that capital from your Bitcoin profits into your altcoin positions, especially the ones that are down, because this is the first signal, the first sign that Bitcoin is losing strength. And if this is the case, it's very likely that altcoins will wake up at some point, and I think we'll see gains. Now, personally, I didn't think altcoins were going to see any growth until Q3. So the fact that, more like end of Q3, right? And so the fact that we're in the middle of, July, and we're starting to truly see this thing pick up beginning of Q3. I mean, it's kind of surprising. I didn't think we were going to see this in summertime, basically. I thought it was going to take us to fall and winter before we started to see these signals and signs that altcoins were waking up, but that's not the case. And I'm glad that myself and many, many, many of you who watch the channel, we were doing those rotatings into our altcoin positions, because now we're in position to start trying to see some growth here. So it's a very good thing what we're seeing. Now, we did have a bit of a scare here, right? I will say we did have a bit of a scare here from May 14th all the way up until June 28th. And the reason why I say that is because Bitcoin dominance price did start to make some really good headway, right? It pulled back to the downside. It came back to this little bounce zone, but then it used it to break through the golden zone. And guys, I'm not going to lie. Typically, when something like a trackable price breaks through the golden zone like this, it's not a great sign, or it's usually a great sign that you're going to pump. But if Bitcoin dominance was going to pump, that wasn't a good sign for altcoins. And so the fact that Bitcoin dominance broke through this golden zone was a little bit spooky. And we talked about that. I was like, that's not the best sign ever. I'm not going to give up, but that's not the best sign ever. We need to just keep an eye on this. But what happened is that Bitcoin dominance price tried to break up to a new regional high, and it just couldn't hold it. It got up there. It just could not hold it. It came back down. It hit this golden zone, failed to hold support here, and is now collapsing. Now, this doesn't mean that Bitcoin dominance is just going to continue to absolutely nuke, right? It doesn't mean that Bitcoin dominance is just going to do that, and we're going to go into some full-fledged altcoin season like we've seen historically. But what it does mean is that it's losing a lot of strength, and it's losing strength extremely fast. And the fact that it wasn't even able to sustain a local high after putting in local high after local high every single day, again, is a very clear sign to me that things are changing. Now, there is still an opportunity that, say, Bitcoin dominance comes back down, it hits this bottom side golden zone, and then it just bounces back to the upside and cancels any hopes for an altcoin or an altcoin outperformance or some sort of altcoin season. It's just getting harder to do. That was much more likely right here than it is right here. And every single day that goes by, while the alts are giving us some beautiful gains, it's making it harder for Bitcoin to just outperform the market. Now, I'm not saying that Bitcoin's going to crash. I'm just saying that when Bitcoin's pumping, I think altcoins at this rate are making it more and more likely that they're going to perform better. On a day where Bitcoin's price is only up 1.16%, look what's happening with ENS and Bonk and CRV and SPX. They're not relying on Bitcoin anymore. And if you're an altcoin investor, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for alts to start to break away and do their own thing and give us some of these gains. And that's exactly what's happening. And so from a macro perspective, what we're seeing in the altcoin market as a result of M2 money supply, as a result of course, kind of downflowing liquidity from Bitcoin into alts, as a result of, the liquidations we've seen recently, altcoins are smashing it and they're looking good. And the fact that, again, Bitcoin dominance was unable to maintain this high right here is a signal to me that Bitcoin is losing strength in comparison to alts, which could be the very first big sign or second big sign, except for this one, that, again, altcoins are preparing for some actual outperformance. A great, great, great sign for altcoin investors. One thing I forgot to mention, and I mentioned it just there, is what we were seeing from, the liquidation side of things, right? When you look at the liquidations, especially over the last couple of weeks, this is also something that'll set up altcoins to perform well. Now, you may say, Tyler, how could the liquidations of Bitcoin traders determine if alts are going to perform well? What you have to understand is that someone's going to get liquidated. It's either going to be long traders or it's going to be short traders. Someone's going to get liquidated. In this crypto market in 2025, these lizard people, they're licking their eyeballs up and down, and they're thinking, okay, who can we liquidate? And what's good for altcoin investors is that they have been targeting these short traders. They have been hunting down these short liquidation levels and pushing the price upwards. And what I've noticed is that when it is the people who are the shorts who are getting liquidated, it oftentimes opens up upside potential for the altcoins because they're not, the crypto market as a whole isn't seeing as much downward pressure. And so people are much more willing to go risk on because the long traders are rolling in cash right now. People who are long in Bitcoin at 100K, they're rolling in cash, and they're the ones who would be willing to then push that liquidity down into the altcoin markets, much more than just a typical buy and hold institution would, right? And so because of that, the fact that we're seeing these short traders getting demolished over the last couple of weeks, especially over the last week or so, is a good thing for altcoins as well. It's a perfect storm. And again, no, it doesn't guarantee that altcoins are going to pump. It doesn't guarantee that this isn't going to end tomorrow, because the truth is altcoins pumping is usually the end of the move, right? So of course it could end tomorrow. All I'm saying is, though, everyone's been looking for hope. Everyone's just wanting that sliver of hope, that thing that they could hold on to say, man, maybe, just maybe, I can start seeing some gains. Maybe, just maybe, I can start making some money. Maybe, just maybe, all these altcoins that I bought in 2022, 2023, 2024 will finally pay off. And all of my diligent persistence, all of the hard days of just watching and suffering through these 20, 40, 50% drops, maybe it'll all be worth something. The dollar cost averaging with the cash that you could have used to go to dinner with your family or go buy those new shoes or go do that. All that money you threw into the market and felt like you were thrown into the fire. Everyone's just been hoping that all of that they went through would finally turn into some gains. And again, I'm not promising that is what's happening right now, but it's becoming more likely. And the fact that, again, we were transitioning back in May and June, pushing some of our profits from Bitcoin over into altcoins, positioned us perfectly to capitalize on this moment and to be seeing gains on all of these cryptos that are up right now. And so congratulations to all of you who shifted. Congratulations to those of you who saw that early rotation before the rest of the market with us, and you capitalized on those gains. We have been ahead of this market in this community all year. Since December, when we pointed out that HMZ, that high manipulation zone, we got ahead of this market. We've stayed ahead of the market, and we've capitalized and generated more profits than most of the communities that I've seen. And I'm not saying that to flex. I'm saying that in a way to congratulate those of you who've been on the cycle and been on the train, because you're smashing it. And I'm proud of you, okay? And so with that said, that's where we are in the market. Now, going forward, a lot of you guys are going to wonder, okay, well, what do we do now? How do we go about this? I mean, what's the next steps from here? If this is, if this is the crypto market really starting to wake up, how do we capitalize on that, right? So let me kind of shift gears a little bit. So before I get into that, guys, don't forget also, one thing that I did want to let you guys know about is that you guys know I partnered up with DFlow not too long ago. It's a super exchange, which basically combines centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges, and they mesh it together to where you're going to get the best price, fast transactions, and everything in between. And a lot of you have asked me, whenever I have done some trades on like smaller coins or micro caps or high risk plays or even some futures trading, you've asked me where I do that at. I also do a good bit of it over on DFlow as well. DFlow is a place where you can go to do literally everything. You can invest into basically any crypto on the face of earth. You can invest in the high risk arena, which is going to be like micro caps and new things. That could be like 1 million market cap, 100,000 market cap, up to 1 billion market cap, whatever. You can also trade futures, which is really cool. And you can hold all your positions in the wallet. It's actually one of the best super exchanges I've ever seen in my whole life. And so if you are kind of in the trenches right now, check out DFlow. I will link that down below. It is an affiliate link, so I do benefit if you sign up and use it. But of course, I do really like it and I use it myself. Okay. Now, moving a bit along. Okay. The question that a lot of people has is, okay, well, what do we do right now? Like, do we buy alts? Do we take profits from alts? I mean, what do we do? So personally speaking, a lot of the positions that I was investing in over like this year are in some pretty juicy profits, right? So something like HBAR, for example, we had been doing a good bit of buying on HBAR as it, started hitting these lower levels. We did a little bit of buying right here. We did a lot more buying right down here. And of course, say if our average cost is say somewhere around here, I mean, we're up 70%. If we look at something like XLM, it's a very similar, kind of position. A lot of the purchases we were doing XLM are up over 100%. Even ETH, we were doing a good bit of buying on ETH as it hit these lows. This low, the purchases that we did down here, that's up 40%. Whenever we look at the purchases that we did down here, these are up over 100%. So a lot of the purchases that we've done here live on the channel, by the way, I'm not just making this up, all the receipts are on the channel. A lot of these purchases we've done over the last couple weeks and months are all up anywhere from 30 to 100%. And so my current strategy isn't really particularly to be buying a lot of cryptos right now, but I'm either holding or I'm taking profit and then rotating that profit into the ones that aren't performing well yet. So option number one for some cryptos is I'm just not doing anything. So like ETH is one where I am taking some profit off the table, but I'm not taking a lot of profit off the table just because I'm not up enough to be super excited about it, right? Like my average cost on ETH is still like $1,400 or so. So it is good gains. It's not fantastic gains. And so because of that, I do think that ETH has the potential to push back up to this key zone of resistance. And so for me, I'm taking some profits off the table for ETH, but for the most part, I'm just holding. Now, for the cryptos like XLM, which are absolutely sending it, I'm taking a little bit more profit off the table because this is like a risk zone, right? This is like a danger zone. Now that we're hit the golden zone, we got a super big move, super big extension that opened up for a lot of the other alts to pump. I'm taking a little bit more profit off the table here. Not all of it. We're talking less than 50% of my entire position, but I'm taking a little bit more profit off the table and I'm rotating that into some of the plays that I still have conviction in that just aren't performing well. A great example of that is Solana. I still think Solana has legs. I still think Solana is going to push back up towards $200, $260. I still think that's going to happen. I just think that Solana's not been getting a lot of attention. I think the pump fund launch, probably contributed to that in some capacities as well. And so I'm rotating some of my positions and some of my profits into Solana as well, as I am thinking that if Solana can push up to say 184, it might open up the gates for Solana to push up towards like 220 or 240 and start seeing some growth. So that's a great example of ones that I'm doing. What I'm doing from like my top 50, top 100 bags. I'm taking profits off the one that are sending. I'm holding some of the ones that are doing okay, and I'm rotating profits from the ones that are sending into some of my ones that I have high conviction in that aren't sending quite yet, like Solana. Now, when it comes to my microcaps, I'm still not really super involved with microcaps, but I'm definitely starting to pick up on it. So for example, I did tell you guys about Qubit not too long ago, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. That thing's up 50% just the last 7 days, pushing back up towards that $10 million market cap. And honestly, it was a fantastic recovery. You guys know this was the very first quantum computing play that I've ever taken on. I've not really been big on the quantum computing side of things, but I have started to recognize there's a clear correlation between quantum computing and crypto. So for example, whenever we started to see crypto actually rallying and we entered into a mini altcoin season at the end of last year, we started to see the Google searches for quantum computing going up. And I don't think it was the full contributor to that, but I do think it was a big contributor just because people who are in crypto are a little bit concerned in the back of their head about quantum computing because it could be the very thing that starts to disrupt the space in a negative way. And so because of that, knowing that, I invested in a Qubit not too long ago. It was very new. I made a full video about it and it smashed it since then. Like I said, it's up over 50% in just the last week, recovering extremely well. And in addition to that, they actually did announce recently that they released their quantum protected wallets, which are wallets that are protected from quantum computing. And it's actually super easy. People think it's all complicated. It's really not. You can just go to their website and you can just click it, go to Qubit wallet and just sign up and make a wallet. And it's protected more than other wallets from quantum computing specifically. And so for me, the fact that they did that, I thought it was very good. I'm not taking any profits off of them right now. I'm not actually buying a ton right now because I already have a really big bag of it. I'm kind of just holding. I still do think it's early. I don't see a reason as to why they can't push like 20 mil, 25 mil market cap, but obviously it is a more speculative high risk play for me, but I do really like it a lot. It's my only quantum play. And again, I think there's a lot of correlations between quantum and crypto. So I'm leaving that one alone for now. I'm not taking any profits because again, I still think a 2x or a 3x from here is very, very possible, especially now that their on-chain volume is really picking up. So that's what I'm doing with Qubit. A little update there. Simple AI is also another one that's absolutely flying right now. As you all know, Simple AI is one that we invested in at sub 1 million. Guys, we're talking $700,000 market cap. This bad boy's at 3.6 million in market cap, smashing us gains here. I mean, this is I'm so happy about it, to be honest. We snagged this bad boy around $700,000 market cap, giving us 400+% in gains. Shout out to those of you who got in on the Simple train. It was one that I told you all was a little bit like excited about, but also was a bit of a high risk play. But I do personally know some of the people behind the scenes who are building this thing. And so it was one of the ones that I had a ton of conviction about. And so I did go ahead, I snagged some of that bad boy up and it's looking good. They're still releasing a ton of products, a ton of software. So they're killing it. They're looking good. But outside of that, in terms of micro caps, I'm not doing a ton. I haven't done a ton with TARS AI. That's another one you guys are big fans of here on the channel. I haven't done a ton with my TARS AI. It is still right around that 8.5 cent mark. It did give us a good push from 2.5 cents up towards 10 to 14 cents or so, but it is still somewhat flat. It's kind of a sleeping giant. I still think TARS is going to push back up towards 20 cents, so I'm still holding it, but I'm not buying anymore right now just because I'm rotating profit into some of my more high macro conviction plays because those are looking good to me, okay? And so with that in mind, that's kind of the full-fledged update on the altcoin market. That's what I'm doing right now. Guys, I will let you know, note as well, one thing before we do wrap the video up, there are only 8 days, 7 days, 8 days left before we release the crypto playbook. So make sure that you do go to the link down below and go sign up. This is a completely free resource that I'm creating that's going to teach you about technical analysis, fundamental analysis, social metric analysis, market manipulation. I mean, everything that I talk about in these videos, there's going to be educational guides and information about that over in the playbook. And again, it's completely free. And I'm not talking like YouTube free, which is like not actually free. I mean, it's literally just free. So that's going to be linked down below. And if you sign up today, over the next coming days, I'm going to send you over some free modules and some pieces of the crypto playbook in advance, completely free again. So check out that link below. And don't forget that if you want to do some futures trading, you can go get up to $10,000 in bonuses over on BTCC. But overall, this is an absolutely fantastic day for alts. I love seeing what we're seeing. And maybe the storm is coming, guys. Maybe the good storm is coming. So I'll keep you updated. If you guys have been enjoying the content recently, please do let me know by smashing that like button, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.